Welcome, everybody. I am going to talk to you today about Telepathic UX. Telepathic's the name of the app. I'm not going to be performing magic tricks or any pseudoscience. I might give you pseudo information, so you'll have to go fact check all of these things with your Copilot or ChatGPT of choice, or your Dutch person of choice. Who am I? So I'm David Ortinau, product manager on the .NET team at Microsoft. I've been at Microsoft for almost 9 years. I've been working in software and tech since like 1995, 96. I did write code before that, but I never thought that I would actually be able to get money for it. So I'm super glad that people pay me to play around with technology. I work on .NET MAUI primarily, which of course is a cross-platform framework for building Android, iOS, and Mac. Is anybody here using .NET MAUI? Handful. How many of you use mobile phones? Everybody. So this is mostly going to be about user experience and how I see from the research and from just imagination what the future of mobile applications may look like. Hopefully this, is somewhat inspirational to you today, and it might be applicable to you as well in your current work. I will definitely go into some implementation technology things specific to .NET MAUI, but they can be widely applied across any other framework that you might be using. So mostly this is going to be about, look how cool this is, what might we be seeing in the future, what user experiences might we be able to create ourselves, and go from there. Sound good? And if you have brilliant ideas and you want to come up to me later and be like, hey, have you thought about this? Let me know. Because we build the framework that allows these experiences to be created. So if we think about UI paradigms from the dawn of the time that you first used a technology piece, a computer usually, I see a variety of age groups in the room. I personally experienced all of these. You look young. I'm imagining the first one you probably didn't, at least when it was the only one available. But you had to tell the computer exactly what to do, right? Line this, go do this. Maybe it wasn't a punch card, but that's what you had to do. You had to program it line by line, go here, do this. Drawing instructions were very much go 10 units this way, then go down this way, and then fill the thing, and that's how you would get your triangle, right? So that was what we all experienced. How many of you experienced this era? And then we kind of go back to it when we have CLI, right? Like we go to the command line and we start doing it, similarly again. The next one was the point and click era, right? And so this is where GUIs became a thing, and now we have the ability to do gestures like dragging and dropping, clicking, double clicking, and we can express some of our intent that way, but we are very much still telling the app how to do the thing that we want it to do, right? So if anybody have children, anybody who was a child? Yeah, see, and I knew I'd get you to raise your hand. So you know what it's like to have the whole go clean your room situation. It is going to typically require some level of detail about exactly what is required to do the thing, but at some point the child grows up to the age where the command simply becomes, or the request, please clean your room. I have a 17-year-old as my youngest of 4 kids, and I have never seen her bed without things on it. Literally, there's only enough room for her to sleep on her bed. This is recorded. It's going to be on the internet. There's only enough room for her to sleep on the bed. It's a 2-person queen-size bed. The other half is like clothes, piles of things. I guess it's kind of like sleeping with somebody next to you. It's like a full-size pillow. So yeah, you get it. So now we're in this era, though, where we can just tell the computer what you want. You don't tell it how to do it specifically. You give it an outcome, you give it an expectation, and you want to see it meet that expectation. Now, I understand. You're thinking to yourself, well, that hasn't been my experience. But that's clearly where it's going, right? The models that I'm using today to write code and to build apps and to do things are so much more capable than they used to be. Anybody tried Claude Sonnet 4.5? Have you noticed any difference between that and the prior models? Yeah, my experience, I'm seeing nods. Yeah, it's significantly more reliable at accomplishing the tasks that I'm giving it now. I have to give it way less detail. And the first models, I had to tell it what .NET was. Now I don't have to do that anymore. So this is kind of the transition that we have been on. And here's a great quote from Jacob Nielsen. If you don't know who Jacob Nielsen is, he is well known as a user experience, usability researcher and proponent. I'm pretty sure back in the 90s, I had a book from him on how to build usable web apps. We didn't call them apps back then. I think we just called them pages. And of course, he would tell me to do all the things that I would then disobey as I was building my Flash apps, you know, with my loading screens and my animations and things like this. Less usable, whole lot more fun. But it really is that we're in this era of the third user interface paradigm. And so we've been experiencing this as software developers, as designers. It's really impacted all those spaces. You go to Figma these days, which is kind of a designer tool of choice, and you're going to get the ability to prompt it and say, here's the kind of application that I need to build. You know, it's a Uber clone, and you can just use, you know, phrases like that, and it will go off and generate designs that are pretty darn good that you can then run with. And then you can take those very same designs, bring them into Visual Studio Code, provide that design either as a Figma document or as a static image, and say, hey, go create this application. And it turns it into a fully functional application with very little interaction or dependency on you as the prompter, right? Has anybody had this experience? All right, many of you did not raise your hands. This is getting exciting. You should go try these things because you will find that it's way more capable. All the things that you've been doing, maybe you enjoy the toil and you know, what does the witch say? The three witches, something, bubble, and toil. What is it? You're a witch. This is Maddie. This is my coworker Maddie. If you've ever heard me present in the past, you probably saw Maddie right next to me. Now I don't have you anymore, and this is the trouble I get into. Toil and trouble and toil? Anybody? No Disney fans in the room. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. See, I totally got myself off track now. But the experience is we're definitely getting there. And so we as designers, we as developers, we as experience creators, I think we should also look even further than that to the end user experiences that we are delivering and say, okay, our lives, our tools, our workflows have been impacted by these AI evolutions. What does this look like for the people using the applications that I'm now delivering? What can I do further to enhance their usability, to enhance their experience, to make it better and better? So I'm going to talk a little about a vision for precognition. So you ever heard the story about the father who learned that his teenage daughter was pregnant by an advertisement from Target? You ever heard this story? Yeah, so the way it goes is they get this advertisement saying, hey, we see that you're pregnant. Here, you know, all these deals on diapers and like all the advertising they were getting from Target was all geared towards having babies. And the guy's like, I'm not having any babies. I'm well past baby age. And then that's how he learned that, oh, indeed, his daughter had been searching for baby-related topics on the internet. Alexa had been listening and all the things, right? And so that had fed into the algorithm for their family. And we've all talked about the algorithm. Well, very much in this way, with AI's help, now this kind of power is available to all of us, not just to machine learning, data analysts, market research, advertisers, right? And of course, you know, there are the dark patterns and the light patterns. Let's all pretend that we're all in the light. We're not going to do nefarious things. Should we have like a word of commitment right now that we will use these powers for good and not for evil? Yes. So this is kind of what I want to spell out. So as we can gain more information, more context, and we can use it for good, we can make decisions not just on the behalf of users of our applications, but in concert with them. And we can start to have a foresight into what will be beneficial to them. So I named my app Telepathic, precognition. We've all seen, not The Matrix, what is it? It's the Tom Cruise one, when he was able to actually run and they didn't have to make it fake. You remember this movie? With the three women and they're in the tub and they're the precogs. What's the name of the movie? Minority Report, thank you very much. You don't have microphones, so I couldn't hear you very well. And that's kind of the idea, but actually based in some information. So I have been, as perhaps many of you, been diving into a lot of user research and institutional research around these things because Microsoft, we have our own research division. Many groups within the company, all with doctorates. I learned that you kind of need a doctorate to get into those teams, so they're not going to hire me. But research is happening at institutions all over the place to understand what is the impact of AI on user experience and the technology, the applications that we're building with a vision for the future. What's this going to look like? So it's really absolutely reshaping the apps that we're using. It certainly starts, I think, at the OS level. So and machine learning was, the beginning of this, right? How can we predict certain user patterns based on previous behaviors? So I don't know about your house, but at my house, at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, everybody's home from school, which at this point is only one kid because the other three are out of the house now. And with less kids in the house, less likely we're going to actually make meals. So I open my phone, and lo and behold, there's an icon when I pull down on the search that shows me an app that I use frequently at that time of day. If I pull down on the search in my phone earlier in the day, that app is not there. Where I live, that app is called DoorDash. And that app is going to bring food to my doorstep from any vendor. So in other countries, it's called Just Eat, Grubhub. Do you have one in your country that has a similar name? Yeah, okay. So this is the app, but it only shows up in that list, and I haven't typed anything. I haven't told it jack squat. All I've done is pull down on the search list to search my phone for an app. It shows up because it knows that sometime in that window of time, it's highly likely that I am going to be making an order from DoorDash. Another app that I just mentioned on my phone is Grubhub. Grubhub serves the same purpose on the phone, to find something to eat. But that one doesn't show up. Why doesn't it show up? I hypothetically think that it's because I rarely use that one for ordering food. It has not as good of deals, but I use DoorDash a lot, and so it shows up. So it's already starting to show up in those areas. I highly doubt that it needs AI to figure that out. I've given it a well-worn path. You ever go to a university and you go to the quad at the university, the big open space where everybody congregates, and then you see all the concrete paths that are clearly unused because there is a well-worn path right through the grass where the students actually use to walk, right? It's the same kind of idea. So personalization, multimodal, and cross-platform are kind of the three things that we're going to talk a bit about in the rest of the conversation here. Personalization is mostly what I've been talking about. We know you're pregnant, so we're going to give you diaper ads now for the next foreseeable future. The other interesting thing, as I recall from advertising, I used to work in advertising, building apps and games and things, is we've learned over time that if you are in a life change, like having a baby or like moving into a new house, you are also much more likely to spend more money on certain categories of items, not just specific to the thing you're doing. And so if you're moving into a new house, you're going to suddenly get a lot of advertising for, house-related things, home ownership-related things, but, things near the category of the thing that you just did, because you're much more likely to spend money on those things. You're also much more likely to change habits in your life. So if the most effective way for you to go from being lethargic and sedentary and, are you going to leave? And maybe obese, to building a habit of fitness and activity is to move. Not move your body, but move home. Move to a new place, move to a new location, move to a new environment. That is the most effective way that researchers have found to get you out of bad habits and into new good habits. But that's obviously not feasible for everybody else. You're gonna take a picture, you're gonna get a pose. All right. Yeah, so I'll come back in like 5 minutes after you're done reading this, and then we'll talk. It'll be a quiz. Just kidding. So this is from one of the research papers that I actually, the quote from the previous slide had the reference to it. And I found some really good, quotes from this. And as I'm reading these research papers, I'm like, absolutely, this is what the future of mobile is going to look like. So I thought that we would dig into each one of them just a little bit. UIs that are dynamically tailored for real-time user behavior and contextual clues. And so I've got a demo later where I'm going to show you the Telepathy app. And it can do contextual things like, hey, I know where you are right now. And I think Windows Phone was kind of the one that really was the first to introduce this. Does anybody had a Windows Phone? All right, we're kind of in a Microsoft-centric place. I had one, and I did dedicate myself to using it for like several months. But I always ended up coming back to iOS. It's a whole family thing, like everybody is on the bubble that has the one color. Was it green bubbles and blue bubbles? Now that's not a thing anymore. Now I guess everybody gets everybody's messages. Or if you're in Europe, you've always been using WhatsApp and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But in the US, this was an important decision. But what Windows Phone did was it said, hey, your phone knows your calendar, it knows your contact list, it knows the places that you've pinned on your map, and it knows your GPS because you've given us permission to that. And so you could do contextual alerts, reminders, right? And so you could tell it, hey, the next time that I am at the grocery store, remind me to get bananas, right? And so then you would end up nearby the grocery store, and at that point, the phone would alert you, hey, you told me next time you're near the grocery store, bananas. I would typically use it for the next time you're near the coffee store, get some beans, because I was more of a bean person than a banana person. So it's that kind of thing. Well, that was all happening years and years and years ago, but as we know how technology goes, it needs to come around 2 or 3 times before it actually gains deep roots and becomes something that is really impacting everybody's everyday lives. The great news here also is that when it comes to real-time interactions and contextual cues, AI is way faster at being able to act on those things. With mobile devices, we're certainly still at the point where this is early. So it doesn't really surprise me that we don't have a room packed out of people. Because the reality is that on mobile devices, in order to really leverage LLMs, large language models, it's gigabytes, right? If you want to put one of those puppies onto your phone, it's a lot of download. But what Apple has recently done with iOS 26 is they have introduced Apple Intelligence, which you can argue exactly how intelligent it is, but it is there, and it is an LLM that you can use on device. You only need to, I think it's somebody talking right behind me. I thought it was like Siri in my pocket talking to me, but you can hear people through the padded cell wall. You do realize you're in a padded cell right now, right? Sorry, you can't, the doors are locked, you can't leave. But now with Apple Intelligence coming to devices and devices becoming more capable, the reality is that you've now got Gemini on Android devices, you've got Apple Intelligence on iOS devices, and Mac devices, and more of this is coming to devices. Windows has it on devices with Foundry Local as well. It's becoming more and more available to more and more users, and so I think we can light up a lot of these experiences very quickly with AI. Anticipating user needs, making adjustments to the interface components at runtime. This is one where I haven't really seen apps taking advantage of this. When people describe this to me, it sounds very much like what we used to call conversational UI. So when I don't even remember what it was like. Adaptive UI, conversational UI was a whole push in the Azure space for a while. I remember Clancy wrote some components, and essentially what it was is, hey, we're going to add chatbots to your app, and we're going to have some machine learning cloud service sitting behind it, but you can design adaptive cards. And those cards are specific to a task that you're trying to accomplish, but based on your chat, it will prompt you with those different cards. So it was the cloud version of sending that UI on the fly to you as you needed it. And I guess you kind of get that in some chat experiences today, you know, like you're doing a car rental or you're booking a travel thing through an or through a chat experience, I'm sorry. But in this case, we're talking beyond chat. So you've got a form, you've got a field service application. Maybe you're in telecom, maybe you're in just a service industry where people go on site to serve a customer or to inspect a need. And when you get on site, maybe the app reconfigures itself with a different form based on that particular need. Rather than the user having to search through the app to find the specific form to use, they can be presented with it because the app contextually knows you're on a call to service a customer for a broken modem, right? And the modem workflow is different than the, well, what are the other things that you might have? I don't know, a set-top box or a pipeline burst or a water incident or something like this, right? So we can on the fly present different UI. And AI today, I would say, is like, I'd say it's like a 75% decent job of delivering UI on the fly. And by that, I mean UI it generates. It can generate UI. It's already doing that. That's what it does when we ask it to generate code in many cases when it's a UI-based application, right? But I wouldn't say I trust it today to deliver real-time generated UI that's like a form for my application. Not without a lot of guidelines and guardrails. But I absolutely do trust it to generate on-the-fly UI based on a library of components that are specifically built for the user experience that I want it to deliver. Because I still want to have control over my colors, my usability, my fonts, you know, my brand recognition and things like that. And then enabling to adjust on real-time assessments. And I'm really excited about this one because I just ran into this experience like 3 days ago. To make real-time assessments of users' emotional states. Matter of fact, I was talking to Steve Sanderson about this, and he was in the keynote. I'm recorded now, so I'm outing Steve's commentary on the keynote. But he had the thought, you know what? I'm hearing all of this stuff about AI doing things and AI being my chatbot friend. He's like, I don't know that I want a friend, right? I don't know that I want it to be all up in my friendliness space. Like I kind of want it to just be a little bit more British to me. That's my summary of him. And I totally get that because I was talking to, I think it was Copilot Chat. It might have been ChatGPT. I was kind of bouncing back and forth. And I was talking to it. I don't even remember what the context was. I was just talking to it. And it was like super cheery and supportive. And I was like, you know what? I could use you to dial that down. I don't need you to tell me how amazing all this stuff is. I just need you to answer the question. Like, you know, 90% less fluff, more answer the question. And that's not just about my emotional state. It's also about my trust, right? Like if you come up to me and you are super happy to see me, and I have no idea who you are, I'm immediately going to put up a guard, right? I'm immediately going to be like, this person is about to steal all my money. They're about to ask for my bank account information. Like, I don't know you, right? But if Maddie comes up to me and is like, I'm so happy to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. Blah! I would be like, that's Maddie. I know Maddie. That's totally Maddie. Gerald would be more like, hey, man, it's been like 3 weeks. I'm so happy to see you. A little pat on the back and everything. That's like totally, that's Gerald. That's our relationship. We're good with that. And then you don't need to touch me for like another 3 weeks. We're good. That's kind of where we're at with this stuff, right? And if you're in, you know, consider a customer support situation and they are getting frustrated, it is completely reasonable that AI should be able to assess that and say, okay, this person is frustrated. you need to dial this back, dial this up, and make these adjustments on the fly. It absolutely can do that with the right guidance and prompting, and more importantly, the context that it needs in order to make those decisions on the fly. Who would be interested in adopting some emotional intelligence in the experiences that you deliver to customers? Absolutely. So if you want to take a picture of this, these are many of the references that I used in the building of this content and the stories that I'm telling. So I know you believe me just because you trust me, right? And I have a microphone, so that's immediately authoritarian. No, that's not the way we say it. I'm American, that's dangerous. We shouldn't say that. But lots of great research. And behind each one of these papers is like hundreds of other papers. So there's tons of research in this space. You can easily find this information online, as I did. arxiv.org seems to be a really good repository for stuff. We use another AI-based tool to kind of summarize and synthesize information called Elicit, E-L-I-C-I-T. It is a research website. You can trust me on that. It's Elicit. But yeah, you find really good information there. So from one of those studies, the one that I quoted from earlier, kind of get this graph. So the future direction of AI-generated or AI-driven user interfaces, you can think of it in terms of autonomous multimodal UIs. So, prediction models, collaborative AI interfaces, and things like that. I mean, I could imagine, and this is a product idea, so you can't steal this. I'm sharing it to you in confidence right now. This is under NDA, right? But I could imagine a world in which VS Code adapts on the fly based on the kind of application that I'm building, based on the mood that I am in. It's like, oh, he is giving a presentation. He needs bigger fonts. Or he's getting really cranky. He probably has too many panels open right now. That sort of thing. Or, hey, he's having a hard time focusing. Maybe close a few tabs, right? That sort of thing. The AI-enhanced personalization, dynamically context-aware UIs that knows that, hey, oh, here's a really good example. It's a great story. I didn't even think of this story before. So when my fourth child was about to be born, my wife goes into labor, and she decides, this is the bathtub labor, right? Everybody do bathtub labors? No? Maddie, she's like, what are you doing right now? And so she's soaking in the tub, and then she's like, hey, it's time, we gotta go. And I'm like, okay, and it's like past time, It's like, this is the fourth child, so like, you've had a few, you're like almost a pro at this point. And so you're just like laid back, you're like, where is this going? And so turns out it had been snowing, and so the roads had not yet been cleared. And so I need to go, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, I need to go, I don't know, it's like a 20-minute drive to the hospital, which is, in baby delivery terms, I need to get there fast. And so get in the car, and I'm driving, and she's in the back. We still had a minivan at the time because we had 4 kids. And I'm driving down the road, and I'm like, you know what? This thing is happening fast. I need to call the hospital ahead of time and let them know we're coming in hot, right? Like with the other 3 kids, we were at the hospital for hours. But this time, it was happening. And so I'm like, okay, I need to call the hospital. So this is 2000, how old is she? She's 17. So 17 years ago. You do that math. And so like I had smartphone, and so I pull up the website on my phone and I find the phone number while I'm driving, because back then that's what we did, right? We didn't have the common sense to not do that. And I see the phone number, it's right there. I tap it, nothing happens. They had not put a link on the frickin' phone number so I could just call it. It's that kind of thing, right? It's like, okay, in the context, I'm moving now. AI knows I'm moving. I can just talk to Siri and be like, do these things for me, or whatever the hopefully AI-enabled thing is. That's the kind of stuff that I think we're approaching. We're getting there. And then contextual adaptation, we kind of talked about that. Move faster. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So let me just touch on a few design principles, and it's all part of this design principles for generative AI, which is out of IBM's user research group, so another great research group. But we want to make sure that as we are taking these crazy ideas that we're all having right now, you're all having them. I've inspired you, let's pretend, I've inspired you Erase the part about my wife and the bathtub birth. You don't need to remember that part. But all the other stuff that was really, really good, you're remembering that and you're coming up with crazy, crazy ideas. You're like, I'm going to do these things. Please do them responsibly. Keep in mind that not everybody feels the same way you do about this crazy, awesome idea. How is it going to look to the end user? How are they going to use it? Do they still feel empowered? Are they going to trust the thing that you're about to, and the way we talk about AI these days, are they shoving it down our throats? You don't want to be shoving these things down your users' throats either. Design for different mental models. This is just a good user design, user research. This is all user-centered design concepts, right? So what is a mental model? It's how you think about something. The way that I approach a concept or an idea may be very different from the way that you do for many different reasons. I am 51 years old. I've seen some things. Some of you have seen some things. I see your gray hairs. Or white hairs in some of your cases. I will never get those up here. Or your no hairs. Yes. Well, that was a design choice on your part, though, at some point, right? Like you made the decision. You're like, this is what the world has given me, and I'm going this direction. But we have different ways of seeing things. I'm American. Many of you are probably not American. You grew up in different worlds than I grew up in. And so when you perceive something as a stimulus, you're going to come to a different conclusion many times than I am. What does that look for? You're deep into that one? So be cognizant. Not everybody thinks about things the same way. And the really cool thing here is that if you were a designer designing in the past, like 6 months ago, and you were designing for different mental models, well, you can only design a form one time, right? Maybe 2 times. You could design maybe 3 or 4 forms to accomplish the same task for different mental models. You might design some things with different colors and different things, but like now with AI, you can almost just describe to AI, here are the mental models that I believe we are needing to support. Maybe you will surface another mental model as you learn on the front lines about the end user. Report that to me, please. If you determine on the fly, in the moment, that you have discovered a new mental model that I should account for in my design of the application, AI, bring that back to me in a responsible, non-information leaking type way, right? Because user information security is important. Trust and reliance. I've already touched on this a couple of times, but keep that in mind as you're designing these experiences. Would I trust this? And hopefully as experience creators in the room, you are using the experiences you're creating as much or more than your end users. Is it frustrating to you? If it's frustrating to you, it's likely frustrating to somebody else. If it's not meeting your need, it's likely not meeting their needs. Do you trust the thing you're using? Do you trust Copilot today? Do you trust ChatGPT today? Probably to different levels and for different things, right? Keep those things in mind as you are also passing the experiences along to your end users. And then 3 more real quick. Design for generative variability. What this really means is we all know that generative AI is not going to be predictable in many cases. It's getting better at the consistency of what it does, but it may go off the rails. It may design something totally different the second and the third and the fourth time, or it may deliver a different experience the second, third, and fourth time than it did the first time. So keep that in mind and design for it. Expect it. Co-creation. Locus of control. The user should always feel like they are empowered in the situation that they're in and that AI hasn't taken over the power from them, or that the app experience, maybe they don't even know it's AI. They just know that, hey, DoorDash is showing up at the top of the list now. Don't know how that happened, but it's super cool. But if you get into the area of, I was having a conversation at the kitchen table about walnuts, and suddenly all the advertisements in Instagram are walnuts. That's nuts. Did you see that? Did you see what I did there? That gets into the area of creepy, right? In UI parlance, that would be the uncanny valley. Something is not right. I feel like I'm being watched. Something is weird. I'm not comfortable in this situation. We don't want to do that. So some level of transparency is also appropriate. Tell the user what you are capturing on them. Tell the user and let them opt out of it if they don't want to be a part of it. And then designing for imperfection, that's again, understanding that it may not be perfect, it may go horribly wrong. Make sure that your whole app doesn't depend on that one AI thing that was super amazing and that's why you got funded, but now it doesn't work and everybody's broken. All right, just a few more slides. So that was IBM research. We actually have some really good research from Microsoft as well. It's super easy to find, AKA MSRAI, Responsible AI. And it echoes a lot of the same things. I just really felt like those 6 principles captured it so well, I wanted to go with that. But everybody is kind of pushing in this space. And so you'll find some really good information on that website, as well as some toolkits to kind of help you work through how to think about that with your application. When we are shipping applications now, we also have a AI responsible review board, where we actually kind of show our AI experiences to the review board and they come back with feedback. Very similar to how we have done usability reviews for a long, long time. All right, so really the key, I think, to building a lot of these experiences, yes, it's finding the right model, which if you want to come to my talk tomorrow, it's going to be mostly on still a bunch of slides, more slides, but on the area of how you can use AI Foundry, how you can add that to your application, and then how you can do the multimodal aspect. So we're going to go deep on text, voice, and vision. Mostly it's going to be a voice talk, because there's a lot that we can do with voice these days. And that's really kind of the most applicable right now, but we'll touch on vision as well. But it all starts with the foundation of what's our context? What do we know? And how much information can we access? And the reason I am so jazzed about this right now is because mobile. What knows more about you? What has more access to your life right now than your mobile device? Your mobile device knows more about you than your significant other. Yeah, true, true. And if you can keep it private from them, that's probably for the best, Maddie. So building context. Let's talk about this. What is context and what is readily available to us today? Location, obviously. Your phone knows where you are. It knows your proximity to other things if there are beacons involved or GPS coordinates you can compare to, right? I remember when beacons was like all the rage. You can go to the museum and it will know which painting you're standing in front of, and it can do all the things. Your calendar, it knows your calendar, it knows your schedule, it knows what you're supposed to be doing if you keep your calendar up to date. I generally do. My calendar is mostly focus time. Don't talk to me, focus time. Your contacts, it knows your people. It knows who you talk to the most, right? If you talk to mom the most, mom usually should show up at the top of the list. You don't talk to mom ever, she should never show up. Memory. And this is one where I think that we as a platform provider, as a framework provider, can do something to help more here. In the cloud, you know, Amazon and the big consumer vendors, et cetera, they have a wealth of information on us, and they have mastered how to build memory, right? On the mobile side, on the front end side, this is probably an area where we could learn a lot from those people. Does anybody work in marketing, advertising, consumer selling spaces? Okay, so we could go make some friends with those people and be like, hey, how did you like learn so much about your consumers? And how can we leverage some of that technically? Like, I know I don't want to have a massive database. I hear this thing about vector databases. Is that the thing I need? Do I need a vector database? What's better than a vector database? Anybody know? 2 vector databases. That wasn't a joke setup, but that was pretty good. I don't know, but like somebody does, right? So like I don't have to master all this stuff. I should probably just ask my best friend ChatGPT or Copilot. But building memory is something I think we can help with. Sensors. There are so many sensors on your phone right now. And it has so much information about the stuff around you. If you have an Android device, it knows way more than the iOS device will tell you, because the iOS device locks a bunch of stuff down and you can't access it. And then platform specifics. There are some things that your device knows that another device won't know. And so we can leverage all of that, pool that together, provide that contextually to the AI when we send it a prompt, and we will get back much richer information and much richer functionality from our AI experiences. All right, so we got 20 minutes left. I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I'm going to open up some demos. Because you're tired of looking at slides, right? Because you know what the next slide is? Thank you. All right. Is this interesting to anybody so far? Yeah, pretty cool. Anybody have the $1 million idea yet that you're going to go out and build next? You're going to take over the world? Nobody has an idea? You have no idea what to build next. Awesome. Well, maybe the rest of the talk will inspire you. All right. So that's the 17-year-old whose bed is constantly covered. Say hi to Lucy. Hi, Lucy. She'll never watch this. She'll never see this. However, I did once upon a time have a video playing, and I yelled something to Maddie. Maddie! And my daughter came running because her name is also Maddie, but my coworker is Maddie. That was fun. That was a fun day. All right. So this is, well, let's start with this demo over here. Mirroring. So let me show you the experience before AI. That's my truck. Y'all know what a Rivian is? Rivians are awesome. They're amazing. Yeah, right? It's awesome. All electric, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Way more horsepower than anybody on Earth should really be allowed to have. All right. Ooh, I have 17 messages. Is that you, Maddie? Okay, so this is the Balance app. Should I bring it center, front and center? Don't need that. So this is the default Maui app. If you create a new Maui app and you say, yes, give me sample content, you will get this application. It is a to-do app, but we made it darn sexy looking, right? This is pretty good looking. So we got some graphs up there to tell me, am I spending more time on work or myself or on my health? It looks like I'm mostly working on myself. Yay for me. And I've got a bunch of projects in here. I'm trying to get more balance in my life. And I got a bunch of tasks, right? And if I'm going to create a task, I'm going to need to come over here. There's really only one option for inputting my task. I'm going to create something that I have to type out. So I don't know, what is this? Get a haircut, you slob. This is going to go under personal, because it is. And I'm going to save that. Now I've got a new task. It's down here. I can do it. I can manage some things. I can manage my projects. If I want to create a new project and say, I've got a new goal in life. My new goal is to birth the $1 million idea. Conceive of, conceptualize. Ideate? Give me a word. Build? I got to come up with the idea. All right, well, fine. Deliver. And then it's a self thing. I'm not going to let work have the $1 million idea. That's crazy. It's going to give me a trophy, and this is personal work. All right. So then I can come back, I can go here, and I can go add some stuff. So this is the experience that we're all used to, right? It's form-driven apps. It's forms over data. I've created some data. It's not going to really help me do anything. It's not going to help me prioritize anything. It gets me no closer to my goals, except for the fact that I now have it all in an app, which I can refer back to in a couple of months and regret that I actually asked myself to do these things. All right, cool. So what could we do better? Let's close this app and let's open what did I call it? I called it Telepathic. I went back and forth between telepathy and telepathic. Oh, by the way, this awesome looking kid in the background, that's my grandchild, Harmony. I'm a grandfather. Aren't you jealous? All right, so I built this app with AI for AI, and it's the same app, but what's it doing here? It is going out to the internet, because it has to go to the internet for future intelligence. And it's going to apply future intelligence to my app. I have provided it with some information. I provided it with my current location, with my calendar, and with a brief description of who I am. I just typed it out, who I am, and what a few of my preferences are. And then I shipped all of my tasks up to the cloud, and I asked it, what should I work on first? So eventually, because I know we have slow internet, it's going to come back. But functionally, same application, right? Now I can do a few extra things here, and this is the multimodal aspect. Not only can I add a task with text, but I can come into it and I can provide audio, and I can just ramble for a few minutes. Clearly I'm a rambler. I can just talk for a few minutes about what my day looks like, and it will extract out of that tasks and projects for me to do. So AI is really good at taking unstructured input and providing structure to it. So super useful. All right, what did it come back with? Draft and outline with key points. I should have told it that I already did that because we're in the middle of the presentation now. What else can it do for me? Pack for the trip. I did actually already do that. I'll just go ahead and clear that one off. Do laundry. I'll do that when I get back. So one of the other interesting things that I've done here is you see this little magic wand? Is I gave it the ability to provide assistive tips to me. And so what it can do is say, okay, well, the task is to, in this case, outline key points. So if I click on that, it's going to go off and try to help me accomplish that. And what did it say? It says, retry. Oh, it's a retry problem. So I can blame that on the internet. But what it will do is if it's a map type thing, go to the grocery store, it will actually open up a map and it will try to take me to the grocery store. It's not the point of this talk, but I'm just giving you an idea of what the app can do. Come to the multimodal talk tomorrow. This is actually the purpose of the talk tomorrow. All right, so I can do that. I can do voice. I can also do vision. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Now, what does this app know about me? So this is something that I just added to the app like over the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, I added some of this information like an hour before this. I just told Copilot, hey, add all the sensors to my app so that I can get all the information. So firstly, it knows that I want to actually use AI. So I've told it, yes, enable telepathy. I am giving you permission to use my information to build better services for me. And I've also given it my location. So I've granted it permission for my location. Then I've also told it which AI to use. So not only am I asking it to use AI, I'm telling it which AI. In this case, it's a Foundry endpoint that I'm using. This is a bring your own key type situation. If you didn't know this, if you're a software developer using GitHub Copilot, you can actually bring your own key and your own models to GitHub Copilot in VS Code. Maybe in VS as well, I don't know, but you can in VS Code for sure. I've told it my Google Places API key. So that's how I'm able to query the Google API to get mapping information. But also, it should be able to know about me. I've got a bunch of starred places I want to go. So now it has all of that information available to it as well. I have granted it access to my calendars, so it knows my calendar, which is Angie, who is my wife. She is the owner of my calendar. And I do have my own, but there's nothing on it. And then I gave it a little bit of information about me. I'm 51, I'm a product manager at Microsoft. I prefer to work out in the mornings, and I also drink a lot of coffee, mostly Americanos. This is the most important information it needs to know about me. All right. Then, what I've also done is I have told it, hey, you can start capturing my information as I use the application, and you can create snapshots. So currently it says no snapshot is available. If I refresh the snapshot, will I get one? Oops. Now I have a snapshot. So what this snapshot is doing is it's taking it's like what Target did when it saw all the clicks for that dad and thought that, well, the daughter, and then thought that the dad was pregnant, right? It's tracking all of my usage of the app and then synthesizing that into some snapshot that represents me, right? Is it going to capture everything about me? No, but I don't want to send it every click. Like, that's way too much data to send over the wire. So I'm using snapshots in this case, and that's just a little bit of what's in there. And then as I generate facts The facts accumulate to a snapshot. So this is the memory part that I was alluding to before, that I was saying, hey, I think we could do a better job on this. This is my first iteration at it, honestly, and so I'll let you know how it goes. But in principle, it's learning about me. It will generate a profile about me, and that should help AI generate better advice to me in the future, right? Makes sense. We already see that happening with how Copilot works with us. And if you use ChatGPT and you let it just remember your entire conversation, like I'm a Korean language learner, and so I use ChatGPT all the time, and it has a full history of all of our conversations, and it builds a profile for me based on that. So I don't even need to provide it much context. I just keep the conversation going. Same idea. What else does the phone know about me? It knows all this sensor information. So of course it knows the phone I have, which it could conclude certain things based on the phone I have, right? Gerald, what phone do you have? iPhone 15 Pro. You have a Pro. If you had a iPod Touch, I would have a different impression of you, right? How many have a flip phone? No flip phones? One flip phone. Not the drug dealer version. But the like the Samsung nice one, you got that one of those, right? Or you are a drug dealer. Yeah, maybe. Well, I can't say. It's being recorded. But that tells us something about you, right? So that information is not useless. It's not throwaway. It could be useful to know what version it is and if I'm keeping it updated in order to recommend something to me. I don't know. What's my display information? What's my battery status? I am 75% and discharging. Connectivity, I am on internet Wi-Fi. Accelerometer, ooh, this is a good one so that you can see it live. Oh, I need to start recording. So we'll do that, and we'll do that. And as you see the information is changing. And the accelerometer, you in the back, I'm gonna throw this to you. You ready? He is ready, you're up for it. I'll say, because if I hit you in the head, then that's my bad. I should have put Gerald back there. Next time, remember that. Next time, we're going to do the throw thing. So that's useful information in the moment, in the context, right? Maybe you drop your phone and the app comes up from the background and says, hey, it looks like you might have just dropped your phone. You all right? Do you need me to call 911 or 119 or whatever? What is it? I don't know what it is in Portugal. Do you need me to alert the authorities? Barometer. You seem stressed. Maybe it's, oh, you crashed your app. Maybe you're stressed. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because I don't know. I'll diagnose that later. But here's one that is kind of interesting, and then I'll switch to the Android, and then we've got like 5 minutes. You're almost free. Is I can get health data, so I can grant permission to get health information. And now I can see the number of steps. Once I figure out the heart rate thing, you'll be able to see my stored heart rate information, or I will be able to see it. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm obviously very excited right now. Anybody want to guess the heart rate right now? I happen to have a healthy heart, so I know it's going to be decent. It's probably in the 80s or the 90s. Yeah, so I have that information. That could be very useful. You can imagine ways in which to use it. Now, the ambient light, I made fun of Apple earlier, saying that they lock some things that you can't see. So maybe it's a light and dark scenario, right? Your phone already knows what your preference is for adaptive text sizes. It already knows your preference for turning between light and dark modes. Yeah, 84, I was right on. Look at that. I know my body. But with Android, and so let me connect to the Android phone. Hi, Lucy. With Android, what I can do, go into the profile and go to my sensors. I can come down here to the ambient light sensor, and it says normal indoor lighting. And then as I cover it, very dark. Bright indoor lighting, normal indoor lighting, very dark. So you can imagine doing something with that. If it knows that you're in the darkness and it knows it's late at night, maybe it knows something. We already see our cars doing this, right? They change from light to dark mode on the fly, especially if you have a Rivian. I hear Tesla might do this too, maybe. I don't know. You also have a Hyundai Ioniq. I'm outing Maddie's cars to everybody, and she's like, stop talking about me. All right, so some really cool stuff. with just a, I won't go into detail on the code. I feel like this talk was mostly conceptual and vision and things like that, but there is code here to be had. So I guess the point in showing you some of the code is, firstly, this is the chat client service from, did I actually deploy this app somewhere? I did. This is this app here. So I mentioned the on-device Apple Intelligence stuff. So this app is doing that. So we can do things with Apple Intelligence. This doesn't go out to the internet. See how fast that was? Didn't go to the internet. That's using the on-device Apple Intelligence. It is intelligent enough to know that .NET MAUI is amazing is a positive statement. That's good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, no, we just did that one. Stop it. Oh, this is the tricky one about the one guard, one question to find the door to one door to freedom. So what does it say? You would ask the guard, what's the next task or clue? No, that's totally wrong. So this is the limit of the reasoning model of the Apple Intelligence. That's not a good answer. And I learned it's not a good answer by asking ChatGPT. That's how I learned. So to do this, very simple. We've got our endpoints, our chat client service. So this is Microsoft Extensions AI. If you're a .NET developer, .NET developers in the room? All right. Microsoft Extensions AI has all the stuff you need. One abstraction, you can get to all the things. I set up my Foundry endpoint for when I'm doing Foundry stuff. If I'm doing local stuff, then I can use that Extensions AI that I just talked about. But all the client stuff is all the same. I can also use tools. So in this case, I have a location tool. The location tool is on device, and basically it says you've got GPS coordinates for here. I know that you want to go to a grocery store next because that's on your calendar. Let me see if there's one nearby. And then it will use the Google API and bring all that stuff together. And it's a simple tool that I wrote, very few lines of code. And actually, I just claimed that I wrote it. I totally didn't write this. ChatGPT or Copilot wrote this. Copilot wrote all this stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it. The light sensor. So here's something interesting about the light sensor, is that, you know, in the past, my flow would have been, go find a NuGet package. Go find an existing open source library or closed source that does this stuff, because it's hard, it's on the Google side of things, or it's hard, it's on the Apple side of things. Guess what? I got that from talking to Copilot for like 5 minutes. And that was, the talking to Copilot was like 10 seconds of it. Hey, I want to do this. And then it just generated all the native Android code as well as the .NET MAUI code. Done. And it's good, it's solid. So I think the days of us having to go look even for open source stuff, if you want to be able to have 100% control of the code and it to be, this is the way to go. This is the future. And then this is just the user profile. Actually, I didn't even do the toggled presentation mode. Easy to get calendar information. We've got a plugin for that. Easy to get the camera information, the microphone information, all that stuff is in the box. GPS location is in MAUI. You don't have to go anywhere else for that. All the permissions handling is in MAUI. And then like pretty much anything else on the platform that's not already surfaced in MAUI, which we surface a lot of it. And you can use this stuff even if you're using Avalonia and Uno for the UI layer. They tap into this stuff as well. They have their own essentials libraries, which is based on our stuff or started with our stuff. And then anything you don't have, you just go to Copilot and say, hey, I want to get all the health kit stuff that I have right now. I just went to Copilot. I was like, hey, I want to access Copilot. I want to access HealthKit. Can you help me? And it did it. And then it was like, oh, by the way, you need entitlements. And then you need to code sign it a different way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And it's like, okay, here, you can go do it. With the Microsoft on-device AI stuff, I said, I want a NuGet package for this. I don't remember how to do a NuGet package. It's been like 8 months. And it was like, okay, cool. Here's a NuGet package. Done. So anyway, I think the future is very bright for us, or dark, depending on the sensor that you might have or your emotional state. And I think that we're going to be able to build some really, really cool stuff. Hopefully you think so too, maybe? Anybody think you're going to build cool stuff? You don't have the ideas yet, clearly, or it's the $1 million idea and you don't want to share it with the room. I totally get that. But definitely thanks for coming. Let me put my contact information up because in particular, if you're using MAUI, I would love to hear from you and hear what kind of stuff you're building. And if you just want to talk about this stuff, you think it's cool, you've got ideas, you have feedback, feel free to contact me, reach out. Did I open the right one? I opened the wrong one. That's why. It's gone. It's never coming back. You or you? You. Here we go. Thank you. That's me. Cool. Thank you very much for coming. I had fun.